today.
Welcome. This is the first episode of Beat This Game Today for 2015. We're going to do Terminator the NES. This is going to go by pretty quick, so I'm going to try to finish as much as I can, okay? Secret, I would say, for most of this game is to keep on moving as fast as possible. These enemies will respawn, and if you can keep, also by the same idea too, if you keep them on screen, kind of like in Karate Kid, more enemies won't respawn, so you kind of want to work that to your advantage. Most people, mainly the nerd AVGN, complained a lot about this game's jumping. I really didn't see how the jumping was really that bad. I played a couple other ones that were worse than that, but this one didn't really seem too bad. But you know, again, I was telling my friend Benevolent Dick that this reminds me a lot of a computer game, and I'm sure that's kind of where they got the idea from. So if you've ever had a chance to, as a kid, play a bunch of crappy platformer games on the old computers like Tandies and shit, this is pretty much what it is. So if that's the case, they did a pretty piss poor job porting this over to a Nintendo, but what are you gonna do? There are, that I know of, there are like 3 different types of jumps. There is what I was just doing, like a running jump, like a leap. There is a longer jump that if you hold down, he'll actually jump a little bit higher straight up. And then there's like a short jump that you can do. You gotta kind of master that if you want to get through this game. Surprisingly enough about this game as well, there were not very many runs up on YouTube. Usually you can get, anywhere from like 10 to 100 different runs of games. That was not the case for this. I think I found maybe like 1 or 2. So I don't know if that's because people thought it was that bad or they didn't care or what, but I mean, it's really not that bad of a game. It could be a lot worse. So for the gun turrets here, you destroy the ones on the ground that you can't get to, like this one and maybe that other one up there, with the grenades. Now you don't have to go around picking up extra grenades across the whole, like this whole stage, because you start off, I think, with 8, so as long as you don't waste them, you should be fine. So you don't have to waste time on doing that crap. Also, the grenades you can throw them further or shorter depending on how long you hold the button. This is the first car driving stage here. There is a pattern. You go forward and he shoots at you twice and he misses you. You go back, he'll shoot at you twice and miss. So you have to try to rotate. Same thing with this blue boss here, except it's a little bit more difficult to get it. So what I would suggest is if you can make it through all this whole section without getting hit once, you can just basically stay right there and just fire into him and you'll win. But you can't, I think maybe you can have 1 hit on your life meter, and then before like doing that scenario would kill you and lose a life. But I mean, I guess if you're gonna lose a life, that might be a pretty easy way or a pretty easy place to lose it, because you do get 2, and as long as you kill some of the enemies on here before you get to the end of the game, you'll probably get a 3rd life. Again, let these stupid bot enemies just kind of kill themselves like that so that you don't have to worry about them. This is pretty much just timing. You would have had to have mastered the jumps somewhat by now, so I don't know a real good way to explain how to do that other than to look up and kind of watch his feet for the placement. So you jump straight up and make sure it's like it's center on the platform you're going to be going on. This section, you could waste your time killing all these enemies, but it's a waste of time to me. So don't mess with it. Just keep running. Stay out of the way of the dogs. The dogs are the worst. You can't punch them or kick them that I know of. You have to use these other like throwable objects, which might be like baseballs or something, and they're just a pain in the ass. So don't even worry about it. And as you'll see here, as I'm coming up, like I'm gonna get this police officer. I'm gonna keep him on the right without him going off screen, so that I don't get someone else populated in the front of me. Like if you got a dog or something, it might be hard to get around him. I like this music, by the way. I thought this was a cool inclusion. Not many games actually put this on in. Not Terminator games actually put this on in. Also, another thing to remember too, you can kind of jump on your enemies here without them actually hurting you, which is a very weird thing. But you can use it to your advantage when leaping over, because you can always kind of jump on their head and you usually don't take any damage at all, and it allows you to kind of like get away with some short jumps. Here you want to try to stay up to the top. If it was a policeman, it's kind of a little bit harder because when you get down to the bottom, if you fall here, you have to dodge the bullets. But if it's a dog, it's pretty easy. Just keep him on screen. That's my phone ringing. That's funny. Let's see. Okay, so we're on the second section here. Sorry, there's one of those throwable objects I was telling you about earlier. So you're gonna go to the right. Same thing, keeping him on screen. If you don't keep him on screen, then you'll most likely have something spawn up top with you. The police officer, the dog, all of which are pretty tough, especially when you don't really have a projectile weapon up there. So don't mess with it. Just keep him on screen, and when you get to the end here, you don't have to even worry about it. Just go up. Here, these guys are kind of cheap. I believe it's 6 punches before they're dead. And sometimes you can get 3 off on them, sometimes you can get 4. They kind of randomly change the amount of delay time between shots. So 3 if you're really on top of them, 4 if you really think that they're, it's going to be a delay. Here, you drop down to the center, time that jump correctly where he just jumped there, and then just go down. Again with the police officer, same thing, 6 punches. Time them however you want to. Once you reach this portion of the game, you really don't have to worry about life, because the next section coming up is pretty easy. You shouldn't have to worry about getting hit too many times and dying. Alright, when we come down here, there's going to be one guy on the right there. I usually always get the heart. And that, because when you go to the left, it seems to trigger this policeman right there so that you can jump over him. And again, I try to keep him on screen so that I don't get a bad spawn of somebody on my right. And then that's it. Okay, so we're moving on to the first driving stage, where I am right there on that line. You want to stay right there. And when there's like a recycling pattern here. So when you get to that middle small block intersection, you want to, like right here, you start slowing down, let the car pass, speed back up, slow down, speed up. You pretty much do that pattern. The other car won't come into you, the blue one, and the green one won't see, I messed it up, but the green one will smack into you and run you off. That will lose life if the green car hits you, and the blue car will, if the blue car hits you, you lose life. I'm not sure if the gun actually does anything to stop the blue car, like slowing them down and whatnot. You do get points, so if you want to try to get like an extra life, that might be a good idea. Let's see. Okay, so that one's over. Like I said, once you know the pattern, it's pretty easy. Now this is kind of a timing scenario here. As soon as you start in this level, you really want to move. Because if you move early, you don't have to worry about getting hit by the electrical outlets or anything. Go down this first hallway, get the block. There's a thing of energy right there where I just passed. But keep running left as soon as you get in there. You hit this door, and then you're on the second level. You beat this cop up, and then there'll be a space where you use that block you just picked up, and you throw it in the middle and use that as a platform to jump over to the left to the other door. So right here, throw it there. Come over the door. And there you go. You get Sarah, and now you're into your second driving stage. This one, again, has a pattern that kind of repeats. I would say do whatever comes, like the easiest scenario for you. This driving thing is going to drive you crazy. That's funny. It's going to drive you crazy. And I can't really explain it unless you actually play it. The driving here is really weird. It's like you're snapping onto certain sections of the road, and it feels really out of control. I don't know why, but again, you want to avoid contact with the Terminator here, because you'll lose a lot of energy. And this track is a lot longer than it was on the first driving stage. And then, so it's really kind of a pain in the ass, because sometimes you just got to take your time with it. But I like to kind of go left to right and confuse him, because he'll try to get closer and closer to you, and if you move to left to right, it kind of throws him off, and he doesn't really seem to know how to get close to you, except for these little bends in the road here section. But sometimes you take your time, you can get around, or you can get around it pretty easy. Okay, oh god, this is a pain here. This is painful to play right here. This section took me the longest to get through, because I really didn't know a good strategy and how to do it. Typically when I got to this section, I could pretty much always, very reliable that I was going to lose at least one life. And that's not a big deal. I mean, if you're just wanting to beat the game, losing one life at this point is fine. There's no issue with that. But like I said, trying to do this without dying this whole game, it was a little tough to do this section. Come on. God, this is slow as shit. So, I mean, you gotta have, like, dodge right, because the motherfucker will get right up on you, and if he just hits you a couple times, I mean, you lose most of your life. Come on. Oh, Lord, see that right there. Such a pain in the ass. So yes, plan to spend a bit of time on this level. I'm sure if you were going to try to do like a speed run of this game, this would be where you would save a lot of time. Alright, we're in the last stage here, in the factory where the movie ended. You have to get a block to get up to that second level. It's going to be on the far right, on the first bottom level here. The Terminator will respawn. You just want to kind of make sure you get him in the right spawn points so he doesn't mess you up. You can kick him or beat him with your fist, but that's not preferable, like what just happened here, because he usually will take some damage, and it takes a while before he'll die. So try to keep him where he despawns on the right or the left, or he drops down the hole. Like right here, I'm going to jump over his head, and keep him on screen so that I can get over here and put this block up so I can get onto the top stage. That's really the best thing. You don't want to worry about trying to actually kill him, because he'll just keep coming back. It's kind of a waste of time. Okay, so you get up here. All the way to the right here is the key. If you don't have the key, then you're not going to be able to progress. You'll just basically waste your time on going to the left side. Now we're going to go all the way back to where we spawned. There's going to be some like elevator platform type things. And to the top left is where you actually need to jump up and use the key to get through to the next section. That timing jump is kind of strange. You want to use the crouching jump at the edge and time it just before it starts coming up and turning right again, because you need to get that jump precise. I died a lot of times trying to get up to that door because I wasn't jumping in the right place. Like right here. You want to do it right there. Okay, so he's going to start from the top, wait till he comes down, go up. Again, keep him on you the whole time, because if you don't, he'll direct spawn in front of you, and then that's just a pain in the ass, and you'll have to come back to this section, because you have to keep him behind you. I don't think there's any other way to do this. And you can see here I'm having a little trouble with his ass. Why they decided to design it like this is beyond me. I've seen, there's some other ones like Terminator and Genesis where they kind of did this, but it was so much better. This is just sad. Okay, so we're here. Okay, so there, that's what you want to do. Okay, so just slowly go. You can either jump over or kind of dodge those outlets or whatever the hell those are now. Keep them on screen until you get all the way to the end here on the left. Okay, now you're gonna go down. Luckily they'll give you a heart just in case, but stay right here in the crouch position. Go whenever you feel is best timing wise for you. As you can see, I'll have a couple of attempts where I decide not to go. Why is because if you go too soon, too late, you'll get crushed in that thing. And another thing to note, the first time I beat this game, I just kept going left and I dropped over. I just kept going on that, like walking to the left after I got through that crusher, and I actually, there's a ledge, a pit over there. So the stupidest thing I've ever seen, I went far left and I fell down in that hole and I died even though I killed the Terminator. Why they put that little pocket over there that you can die on the left side is beyond me. So not only do you have to time your walking over under that crusher piece, but you have to make sure you don't walk too far over the left, because then you'll fall off into the hole and die. But anyways, that's Terminator on NES. Wasn't a bad run. I don't know, give it a try if you can find it. It's kind of a rare game, but I think definitely worth a playthrough.